Hi, good morning. Hashtag crazy cat jumping on real quick with you. And I have a little photo bomber, TC. She refuses to get out of my way, so she's going to have to be here for the little talk. First off, I wanted to talk to you about peace. And peace is something that is a bit elusive right now in this day and age. It seems like you can't turn on the news or scroll social media without something that just is so heartbreaking showing up, regardless of your opinion or view or position in the stuff that's going on. At the end of the day, we're all people and we're hurting each other. Do you know what I mean? And it's just it's really sad. And it got me to thinking about a couple of things. So first off, how do you get back to peace in this time? And how do you make sense out of all of it? Because it is a bit crazy. And the first point I wanted to make is that there is more. There is more than just this life that we're living in right now. There is more than the frustration that we're dealing with. There's a whole lot more. And all of it is described in the best success book ever written. And don't roll your eyes. If you're like my old version of myself about 10 years ago, I probably would roll my eyes. So my story is I grew up in a Bible-based family and I heard about the Bible my whole life, but I hadn't taken it on board in my heart. And I didn't really understood what it meant. I heard about heaven and hell and I thought, oh, well, there might be a God out there, but I'm not really sure. I think there is. I mean, if it came to it, I probably would have chosen his side just because I'd been trained so much, but I just didn't really get it, honestly. And I knew that I needed to be reading the word and that supposedly peace came from the word. And that's the way I felt. So when I say supposedly, because I'm telling you right now, it does. But anyway, so I was like, whatever, kind of, I don't know, acted like an agnostic. I wasn't ever an atheist, but I kind of acted agnostic, like I didn't really care. And I was like, hopefully I'll get a chance to make up my mind before I die, so I don't have to end up in this horrible hell place if there is one. So that's where I was. But what happened is I found myself I'd done everything I thought I was supposed to do, made the grades, got the jobs, did the deal, made the money. I made it to the top of my profession and I was more and more unhappy. I was more and more stressed, more and more frustrated, more and more just anxious. I was aggravated. It's funny. I talk to my family now. They can't even believe that, they're like, wow, your transition. It's like, you can just see how much I've calmed down, and it's all due to the Father and by going back to my roots. So the way I describe it is I rode the world train, this business of busyness, all the way to the end of the line. And I was just it was speeding up and I was getting more unhappy. And at the very next stop, I got off, right? And I'm standing on the platform and I'm looking around and I'm like, this is it, right? This is a lie and I'm done with it. So I'm like, I'm going back where I came from. And I started the process. I picked up the greatest success book ever written and I started reading it from the beginning. I didn't know what I was reading at first because, it's simple enough to understand for a 5-year-old and for anybody. There's lots of people who understand it who never read a word, but it's also can be very complex and it's meant to be. It opens up as you seek it. And it's awesome because I love puzzles and mysteries. And this is like the coolest puzzle mystery book I've ever written. And I just get up and I'm so excited. I'm mesmerized. But anyway, so that's me. I got off at the end of the line and I was very unhappy, and praise the good Lord that I did. That was about 3 years ago. And now I live here, right? And I call it my mega life, but it really is my God life. I got back to God and I got back to the basics and I got back to the word and I found peace, true peace. And so even though I see all this stuff and it makes me sad and it breaks my heart and I hate it, because anytime anybody hurts or anytime anybody hurts somebody else, I just literally want to cry. It's just so heartbreaking to me and I hate it. But I'm one human and all I can do is get back to the word and be kind to the people I can be kind to and to try to share my experience and hopes that it lands on maybe a few of you and you can help a few more people and it goes out from there because our Father is way bigger than I am and way smarter too. So anyway, so let's start. So lesson number 1, there is more. So I want to take you to Psalms 90 and verse 10. And I love this verse because it's a great reminder. The days of our lives are 70 years, or if due to strength, 80. Yet the best of them is but toil and exertion, and soon it is cut off and we fly away. right? So we're going to live 70 to 80 years on this earth. Some a little more, some a little less, but on average, 70 to 80 years, assuming we don't blow each other up tomorrow, which isn't outside the realm of possibility. But anyway, so 70 to 80 years, man, that's a blink. That's like a nothing. Do you know what I mean? And all we know for sure is that we're not getting out of here alive. Like literally not getting out of here alive, right? The only person who left and didn't come back, there's two, actually, Enoch and Elijah left, got taken by God. But everybody else, including the Son of God, died on this earth. We are not getting out of here alive, period. Like, okay, so with that being the case, even if you are like I used to be and you're like, I don't want to think about it, or you're like absolutely atheist, I don't believe that there's a God, you're going to wake up some fraction of a portion of a second later, and the decisions that you make now are going to impact what happens out there. Do you know what I mean? So isn't it worth giving it a little bit of time to think about? Even if you're like, I don't believe it, or I don't want to hear about it, or whatever. What if, that's true that there's something afterwards? At least give it some thought. So there is definitely more, and it's Messiah Jesus, right? So go to 1 Corinthians 15, 1-4, and it explains what he did. He's the creator of the universe, and he came and died on the cross for us. He walked like a human on this earth. Imagine that you are the king, like the top, and you have this amazing island and you own everything, right? All the buildings and all the people and everything, and everybody just does everything you want all day long. And you, on your own volition, you humble yourself and you become like the lowest person, right? Let's just say, I don't know, you're scrubbing toilets. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I scrub my own, but let's just say you're the toilet scrubber. And people now treat you differently than they did when you were king, because they don't realize that you're king. Well, you could like zap them, right? That's what Jesus could have zapped any one of these people, because he's the creator of the universe, but he didn't do it, because the whole point was to come here and be human and to go through what we go through. He suffered in every single thing, loss of friends, people died. He died himself. He died on the cross, a horrific death. He was spat on. He was talked down to. So right now, somebody talks down to us, and our natural nature is to kind of fight back and to yell and to be heard. Well, Jesus didn't do that. And it really doesn't. I think back whenever I've yelled and screamed and hollered, it's never actually helped me to feel any better. And in fact, I felt worse, because then I've hurt another human, as well as just like going on a rant, which I went on plenty of them, trust me. But what I realized is that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And that if we use them in that proportion, that we'll learn a lot more. I've never learned anything when my mouth was running, right? I learned when my ears are open. And I've also never gotten myself into trouble when my ears were open and my mouth was shut. So by opening the ears and closing the mouth, we keep ourselves out of trouble, right? We don't regret things that we said. And we also don't hurt other people. And we learn a lot more. So anyway, that's that. So peace comes from Messiah, and he's knocking. He's going around knocking on doors, and he really, really, really just wants you to open it up and to give it some consideration. Start reading the book like I did. I mean, what do you have to lose, right? Let's just say, what do you have to lose? Like absolutely nothing, other than learning what's actually in here instead of hearing all these rumors about what's in here. So, and I didn't really understand, even though I grew up in a Bible-based family, because I wasn't taking it into my heart. I really didn't understand. And I had a lot of misunderstandings about what was in here. And it's pretty awesome. The boiled down version is love God, love others. And if we did that, like imagine what the world would be like. It'd be pretty cool, huh? Love God, love others. Yeah, pretty good principles. Anyway, so in John 14:27, it tells us where peace comes from, and it comes from Yeshua Messiah. And this is when he's about to die on the cross, and he's had his last supper with the disciples, and they're following him through town. They're making their way from where they had dinner over to the Garden of Gethsemane, which is where he's going to be taken into prison. He's praying with the Father. And as they're walking through town, he's saying, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. And just imagine saying that right before you're going to die. So within the next 24 hours, he dies, right, for us on the cross in a horrific death. And he was the Son of God, so he knew how it was going to go down. And still he's talking about peace. So that tells us that we can have peace in any situation. Really, truly, we can. If we put our faith in him and in the book, and we go to prayer and humility instead of yelling back. And that brings, oh, actually, I have one more verse on the peace. So this is my favorite verse, which I've used a lot. And it's in Philippians 4, 6, and 7. And it's, do not worry at all. Wow. Do not worry at all. No worry, right? There's no reason to. God already knows what's going to happen. We can literally and truly live in a peaceful and joyful state at all moments if we know that God has it and he has our best intentions in heart. And we're praying, we're laying it down, we're being humble, and we're learning what we need to learn. So do not worry at all, but in every matter, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to Elohim. And the peace of Elohim, which surpasses all understanding. It's like this peace that comes in my heart and in my soul. It's incredible. And I compare that to 3 years ago when I got off the end of the train, right, of the business of busyness. And I stood on the platform and I was so lost and I was so broken and I was so sad. And I was like, I've done everything I was told and I'm so lost and I'm so frustrated every single day. I don't even know which way's up. And I can't do this anymore. I won't be here another 20 years if I keep doing this. And he took my hand and he led me back, right? And I feel true peace, which is only from him. And he guards your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So then the last one is the last item. So we've talked about there is more, and it's in Jesus, right? We're only going to live 70 to 80 years on this earth, and we're going to be gone like a vapor. 70 to 80 years is like nothing. I'm like almost 50, and it is past like fast, right? We're going to look back, and this is going to be nothing. So if there's something after, give it some time to think about it. If you don't know where to start, please reach out. Please private message me. I probably don't know the answers because I'm not that smart, but the Father is, and he knows somebody who can help you. And I can get you a resource or a person or a verse. I will read. I'm actually reading with people. If you want information on that, I'm like on book 4, book 5. I'm reading every day in the morning so that way I can go along with guys and anybody it can help. I just want people to get into this book because it's the only way you're going to be able to watch the news and social media without wanting to crawl into a corner and ball up and just cry, because that's how I would feel and how I did feel 3 years ago, right? The second one is peace comes only from Messiah. So Yeshua Messiah came here. He walked in our shoes. He was human just like us. He felt every single thing that we experience. So there's no feeling, emotion, negativity thing that you're going through that he doesn't understand. He's already gone through it and he sees it anyway. So you might as well talk to him about it. And trust me, I used to think that was weird, but it is the coolest thing on the entire planet to be able to talk to the creator of the universe like he's your friend and to really just talk it out, because he will give you the peace that you can't feel. And it just comes out of nowhere. And you're just like, oh my goodness, you're just praising the Father. So James 4 is where I want to spend the last one. And that's where the last lesson is. And it's humility always wins. And that's what I've got up on the board today. That's humble yourself in the sight of the master and he shall lift you up. And humility always wins. Okay. So we're in a time where people want to be heard, and it is a natural human inclination to want to be heard, to not be stomped over, to want to take up for yourself, to feel like you've been wronged, and a blah, 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 blah. The thing is that all of the answers come from God. So by getting quiet and praying is where the answers are. Yelling at other people never gives an answer. At least it never has for me. Do you know what I mean? So back to the 2 ears, 1 mouth, if we were listening more and talking less and praying more and listening to God more, we'd feel a whole lot better, because I do. And it would be a whole lot easier to operate and to be kinder to other people in this crazy world that we're living in. So I'm just going to read James 4 because it's just so good. And it's speaking to what we're going through right now. Where do fightings and strivings come from among you? Do they not come from your pleasures that battle in your members? So things that you want on your own, you're battling. You desire and you don't have. So we want things that we don't have. We murder. We're jealous. Unable to obtain, we strive and we fight. We do not possess because we do not ask, right? So we're not going to prayer and we're not asking the Father. And so that's why we don't have it. And instead of doing that, we're blaming other people and we're striving and we're fighting and we're unhappy. And it's really awful. You ask and do not receive because you ask evilly in order to spend it on your pleasures. So maybe you've asked and you didn't get it and you're like, well, he doesn't listen to me. Well, what are you spending it on? Are you going and giving it back to the poor and to help other people? Or is it just to spend more money foolishly like I have done? I am number one on the spending foolishly. I have $20 and $50 myself to death. It is ridiculous. And I'm changing that. But if he's going to give you money for you to just go spend it on a bunch of crap, he's not going to give it to you. Our money is for the poor and to take care of the things that we need to take care of and to spend time with him. Adulterers and adulteresses, which are people who worship idols, and an idol is anything you put before God. So it's not just a little gold statue. It's your house, your car, your money, your fame, your fortune, your ego, your online presence, which is me, your wanting to win, which is me, your wanting to be first, which is me, you're liking to say something and have people listening to you, also me, right? So I don't know which of these are you, but I have all kinds of problems. And lots of things, greed and pride and ego, that I put as an idol before my Father. And it's hard. Do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with Elohim? Whoever, therefore, intends to make a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of Elohim. Or do you think that the scripture speaks to no purpose? Does the spirit which dwells in us intensely crave unto envy? But he gives greater favor. Because of this, he said, Elohim resists the proud, but gives favor to the humble. So then subject yourselves to Elohim, resist the devil, and he shall flee from you. Draw near to Elohim, and he shall draw near to you. Cleanse hands, sinners, and cleanse the hearts, you double-minded. Lament and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning, and your joy to dejection. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Master, and he shall lift you up. Brothers, do not speak against one another. He that speaks against a brother and judges his brother speaks against the Torah and judges Torah. And if you judge Torah, which is law, it's a Hebrew word for law. It's the law that they follow. You are not a doer of the Torah, but a judge. And the Hebrews, Jewish people, wrote the Bible. So a lot of my Bible that I read is in Hebrew, which I love because that's the primary language in which it was written. The New Testament was written in Greek, I think, but most of it was written in Hebrew. There was one lawgiver and one judge who was able to save and destroy. Who are you to judge one another? Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow, let us go to such and such a city and spend a year there and trade and make a profit, when you do not know of tomorrow. For what is your life? It is a vapor that appears for a little and then disappears. So here's another reminder back to the passage we read in Psalms 90. Instead of saying, if the master desires, we shall live and do this or that. But now you boast in your proud speeches, and all boasting is wicked. To him then that knows to do good and does not know it, to him it is sin. So if we, sorry, the princess had to jump right in the middle. I have cats. I adopt all the neighborhood cats and they like to jump up here sometimes. So anyway, so that's my final reading in James 4. And I highly recommend spending some time in this amazing word. If you don't know where to start, please send me a message. I'd love to help you. If you don't know Jesus, I'd love to help you. I'm just telling you, I know what it was like to be stressed and frustrated. And if I was still where I was 3 years ago, I'd be staring at the news right now. And I would literally be balled up in a corner, drinking massive tons of red wine, crying. Like, what are we going to do? This can't go on, because it's just really, really sad. So with that, I'll leave you. Be blessed. I hope your day's amazing. Please reach out. Let me know how I can help. And I believe that's all. Bye now. Hashtag crazy cat. And my mission is to unzombie the world. And we do that by helping you to understand your inner bully. And the inner bully wants you to live in pride and ego and frustration and thinking you can't do it, and fear, right? And anxiety and doubts. Those are all like inner bullies. They're not real. God has the answer. He really does. And I live my mega life now, and you can live yours too. So let's put your dream that's in your heart to action. Find your mega life. So my mission is to unzombie the world, one mega life at a time. With that, be blessed. I'll chat with you soon. Bye now.